We went 13-8 on this video last week. Overall this season, we're hitting our TD picks at a 68% clip, which is completely insane. So in this video, we're going to run it back, going game by game to break down the best touchdown picks and some long shots for week 6. Let's talk Broncos Jets to start here. I think the most likely guy to score in this game is J.K. Dobbins. He had a season high 21 touches last week. He has found the end zone in 4 or 5 games. But I think if you wanted a deeper flyer, Evan Engram is at least interesting in this one. The Jets have been pretty good against tight ends, only allowing 5.3 yards per target, which is 4th best in the entire league, but they've allowed a league high 13.2% touchdown rate to the tight end position. So if you want a flyer and a long shot, I think Evan Engram is at least in a decent spot. Let's talk about Rams and Ravens. This one feels relatively straightforward. Kyren Williams and Davante Adams are going to be my picks for this one. Kyren Williams, only the Titans have allowed more total touchdowns to opposing running backs than the Ravens, and Adams owns the second most end zone targets in the NFL. That really matters because Baltimore's also given up the most touchdowns to wide receivers. So I think there's just plenty of touchdowns to go around in this one. And Kyren's obviously been on a bit of a heater. 2 receiving touchdowns last week. So I think this one is a slam dunk, trying not to overthink this game. Since we're always talking about making picks, I'm teaming up with DraftKings Pick 6 to give new DraftKings customers a deal that you won't want to miss for week 6. When you play $5 or more on your first paid Pick 6 entry, you'll get $50 in bonus picks instantly. That's right, play $5, get $50 in bonus picks to keep building your slips and take your shot at big payouts. Just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, sign up using my promo code HOLKA, and start playing today. If you've been thinking about trying Pick 6, now's the time to get in. Just use my code HOLKA to sign up, and all new DraftKings customers can play $5, get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Let's build some slips. Cowboys, Panthers. Yeah, obviously, McMillan sold us last week. Still hasn't scored this year. He's come very close. But the good news is no one has a higher touchdown rate allowed to opposing wide receiver ones than the Cowboys. Also, another guy that we've taken a few weeks here that has worked out, Jake Ferguson. So Carolina has been absolutely destroyed by tight ends. So one of the worst teams in the entire league. They've also given up a decent amount of touchdowns to the position. So I think there's a chance that Ferguson gets back in the box again. Cardinals, Colts. Yeah, this is one where I'm not going to get too cute. I think Jonathan Taylor is your guy here. Obviously, he's had multiple games this year with 3 touchdowns, a league high 7 touchdowns. So he's leading the league in rushes and rushing yards as well. The thing for me with JT is that he's actually being used a lot more in the passing game this year, which really just increases his ceiling overall, and his touchdown upside has come with that so far this year. So not getting cute in this game. Seahawks and Jaguars. I really like Travis Etienne in this game to score. They've really had an issue overall this year defending running backs in the receiving game. So if Etienne can get a little bit more involved as a pass catcher, I think it's a really nice opportunity here for him. League high 14.2 receiving points allowed to backfield. So really good matchup. And then I also really like JSN in this spot. So he's been absolutely crushing the entire year on a historic pace from a yards per route run perspective. We know that. But Jacksonville has really struggled against opposing wide receiver ones. Ja'Marr Chase went completely crazy, 14, 165, and 1. Nico Collins also got over 100 yards and scored. So I think if we're looking at just these strong wide receiver 1 matchups, they are really good bets to score as well. Los Angeles Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. Quentin Johnston is the guy that I really like in this game. We've taken him a few times this year as well. He's cooled off a little bit after his really hot start, but I do think in general, they're going to go back to him here. The outside wide receivers are the ones that we want to target against Miami. They're one of the worst defenses in the league at defending outside wide receivers, 28th in terms of their touchdown rate allowed. So Quentin Johnston is the guy that I really like in this game. I think if we're just trying to talk through who's the most likely to score in this game, it has to be Achane, so we can add him to our slip as well and still feel pretty good about it. Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers. This one was actually one that I struggled with a little bit. I think if you're looking for the most likely, you could make an argument for Judkins, Metcalf, but I really like Njoku in this game. And I'm going to tell you why. You'll get a nice multiplier on that, obviously, but the Steelers have really had issues defending tight ends to at least open the season. The touchdown rate allowed is 3rd worst in the entire league, 10.3 touchdown rate allowed to the tight end position. So really good spot for Njoku to get into the box. New England Patriots and New Orleans Saints. This one also was kind of difficult. This team I guess both of these teams in general are a little bit spread out. So I think you should kind of go off the board a little bit in this one. And the guy that I really like is Hunter Henry. The Saints have allowed a 10.3 touchdown rate to tight ends. That's third worst in the entire league. And also, they've allowed 4 touchdowns to the position so far this year. Hunter Henry, big target in the end zone. He's the guy that I like to score in this game. Titans and Raiders. Again, Ashton Jeanty is someone that it's been a little bit of a roller coaster if you've owned him in season long, but this is an amazing spot against the Titans. They've allowed 5 touchdowns to running backs over just the last 2 weeks, if you include Amari DeMercado's goal line fumble, which I'm going to for the purposes of this. The Raiders have really just unlocked Jeanty. 3 scores, 264 yards over his last 2 games. So I think it's a really strong spot for him to get into the box. Again, I have another pick for first touchdown in this game as Ashton Jeanty. Really like that one as well if you're looking for a bigger multiplier. 49ers and Bucs. Yeah, CMC here I think is the easy one to add to the slip to start. They've actually really struggled to defend running backs in the receiving game, so that's something I always look for. The one that I like as a little bit of a dart throw is Jake Tonges. So Tampa Bay has been getting absolutely shredded by tight ends, but they've also allowed the second highest touchdown rate to the position. It's kind of a nice week for some tight end touchdowns, I think. So I like that one a decent amount. Cincinnati and Green Bay. This one, again, feels like pretty straightforward. I think Josh Jacobs is as likely as anyone to score in the entire league this week. Second most touchdowns allowed to the position, one of the highest Vegas team totals by a mile. The next pick that I really like, it's a little bit more surgical for sure. We're just going to stay on the tight end train today. Tucker Kraft. Only the Jets have given up more touchdowns to tight ends this year, and then Kraft got tackled at the 1-yard line twice last week. So I think he gets in the box this coming week, makes it right. 1.4x multiplier, really like that one. Lions and Chiefs. Yeah, coming off like his best game of the entire year, I do like Kelce to score in this game for the second straight week. It's a really good matchup for him. Top 5 touchdown rate allowed to the position. We're going to stay on the tight end train. And this one, I think most likely would be Jahmyr Gibbs. The Chiefs have actually really struggled to defend running backs this year. So I think that Gibbs could have a really big day on the ground. Let's talk Buffalo and Atlanta. This one, again, I think if you're really trying to go deep with some of these wide receivers, it might get you into trouble. There's some of these games where I think it makes a lot of sense to just go to the running backs in this spot. I actually like both the running backs better than Josh Allen on the ground in this game. You could probably make an argument for Drake London, who has a pretty good matchup. We'll see if we get Mooney back. But from a touchdown perspective, Bijan and Cook are the ones that I think are the most likely to score in this game. And then if we're just looking at the second half of this Monday Night Football doubleheader, Bears and Commanders, the one that I think is really interesting here is Rome Odunze. Rome's been an absolute stud for this year, but against cover 2, Odunze has a team-high 24.1% target share, and also Washington has been getting absolutely cooked by those wide receivers on the outside. They're 25th in the league at defending outside wide receivers from a touchdown perspective. If you wanted to get a little bit crazier with this one, I think Deebo Samuel is at least interesting how he's being used in the run game as well. They're kind of like a heavy man coverage team, which we typically like to play Deebo against zone coverage, but Deebo's been so involved without Terry McLaurin that I think if you're trying to find someone on the Washington side, that Deebo's your guy. I normally keep my anytime TD picks to YouTube Shorts, but if you like this game-by-game breakdown, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll keep making these as a weekly video. See you guys tomorrow morning for the live stream.